Welcome to the topic, solving quadratic equations by factoring. So the basic steps are to set the equation equal to 0, factor, and you can factor by greatest common factor. You want to do that first, if possible. Then you'll look for difference of perfect squares. You could have a trinomial where a equals 1, or you could have a trinomial where a is not equal to 1. And let's take a look at first, and then set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So let's look at our example 1. We've got x squared minus x minus 20 equals 0. Now, first, this is already set equal to 0, so that part's done. Next is to factor. This trinomial factors as in x minus 5 times x plus 4. If you need to, you can always check that by multiplying this out. And in this case, it does indeed match the beginning, so that's set. Now it's time to solve. X is equal to 5. Let me back up. We'll say this. You want to do set each factor equal to 0. And then you're solving two mini equations in a way. So x equals 5 or negative 4. And sometimes it's written as a list in braces like that. Take another look at another example. Oops, that's not example 3 yet. We'll say this is going to be example 2. So example 2, we'll say x squared minus 18x plus 17 equals 0. It's already set equal to 0, which means that you can now factor. Here you've got x minus 17, x minus 1. That would be the correct factoring for this. Each factor you set equal to 0. And then you solve. X could be 17 or x could be 1. So those are my answers for example 2. We'll take a look at example 3 now. So example 3, we've got a quadratic equation, but you notice now it's not set equal to 0. So what you need to do is subtract the 16 over x squared plus 6x minus 16 so that this equals 0. That's the key. Okay, now once you have that set equal to 0, you can try to factor it. X times x will give you x squared. 8 times 2 gives you 16, and the difference between 8 and 2 is 6. We've done this in the past where we write down this number here and we look to see what are factors of 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8. 3 does not go in, but 4 does. 4 times 4, and that will be it. The only ones that have a difference of 6 are 2 and 8. So each factor is set equal to 0. And then you solve from there. And so my solutions to this problem are 2, and -8. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. Okay, so we'll take a look at example 4. 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. We need to have these first two terms be 2x times x, and we also need 5 times 1 to get 5. We can perform a check on that. 2x plus 1 times x minus 5. That's 2x squared minus 10x plus x minus 5. The middle two terms go to -9x, which is a match. So this is factored correctly now. And now each factor is set equal to 0. 2x equals -1. X equals 5. So in this last case, x equals 5 is all set, but we have to do one more step for the first solution. So my answers are 5, but also -1/2. Okay, and we've got one more, example 5. This is, we've got 7x to the third minus 63x squared equals -56. So make that -56 a little bit nicer. Okay, so first set equal to 0, which means that you're going to need to add 56 to both sides to bring that over. Then you're going to have 56, make that 56x. Copied that wrong. So now you've got a greatest common factor. And it looks like we can take a 7x out of every term. 7x times x squared gives you 7x to the third. 7x times 9x gives you 63x squared. And 7x times 8 gives you 56x. Now the resulting trinomial can be factored again in this case. X minus 8, x minus 1. So my solutions, I can write 3 different equations. Set each factor equal to 0. So my solution is 0, 1, and 8.